You know, they say the three things you're never supposed to talk about are sex, politics, and religion. And I've come to the conclusion that that's because all three of them are wrapped up together in one form or another. Consider for a moment, how many people choose not to be religious because somehow this would interfere with their sexual preferences or their sexual life. In a religious context, sex is something extremely elevated. And I don't just mean that it's tied to procreation and the creation of life, which it is. As a Catholic, I've been taught that sex is actually tied directly into the sacrament of marriage itself. So anything outside that realm is akin to drinking Coca-Cola out of the chalice. You also have to remember the purpose of religions in general. The purpose of religions is to make sure that they give you a set of guidelines so that if you follow these guidelines, you will achieve whatever end-of-life goal that has been set before you there. For me, that would be getting to heaven. These sets of rules are always geared for the fact that however many years you're living on Earth, it's nothing compared to however long you're going to be living afterwards. Infinite is always bigger than finite, by a good bit. So whatever sacrifices you have to make to meet these rules, no one in the religious side of things is very concerned about that. They just know it's their responsibility that they give you the strictest set of rules so that they can make sure that whatever they're telling you, if you follow it, you'll be safe and you'll get to heaven. Or again, depending on whatever religion you have, you'll get the best outcome. It seems to me that when people walk away from whatever religion they happen to be walking away from, 99 times out of 100, it's not because of the stealing or lying aspects of it. Everyone kind of agrees that that kind of thing is wrong, and not too many people, I hope, are saying, I really got to murder. No, it mostly comes down to sex. Sex is usually what's pushing people one way or the other with these things. And this carries over into politics as well. How many people voted for candidates in the last however many elections based on the fact that that candidate promised them a set of rules by which they could have essentially unrestricted intercourse, let us say, without having to worry about certain consequences. Now, if I asked you, would you prefer people are choosing their leadership based on constitutional principles or sex, what would you be more comfortable with? A lot of people vote or go to church based on rules that they themselves wouldn't even consider breaking, but they have close friends who are breaking said rules. And they don't want to feel like they're judging said friend. What everyone has to realize is that you don't have to judge people based on your acceptance or non-acceptance of a given rule. None of us are in the position of understanding everyone's circumstances. No matter what's going on or how obvious it seems, we can't really say whether a certain person is good, bad, or indifferent. But that doesn't mean that we have to abandon every single tenet of morality. We don't have to plunge ourselves into the gray area of life and say everything's relative. We can judge actions without judging people. It's really kind of funny because everybody thinks that Christians in general are the most judgmental people around, and many of the Christians maybe themselves are judgmental, but as a religion, it's based around a person who would sit and eat with anybody, would forgive anything, who understand that life is hard, but also expected you to try your best. This video is actually a video response to a video from the Phil Defranco show, which I believe I'll have linked probably, well, in the current design somewhere down here, although it could be somewhere up here or around here or, anything like that. In it, the YouTuber, Phil Defranco, was struggling with a lot of these questions. What do I do? How can I judge this without judging that? And that's where I'm going with all of this, is saying that you don't have to judge people based on holding certain beliefs. Because you're not in their shoes. You don't know what God's given them to deal with and what tools He's given them to work with. In addition, you've got to be extremely careful. For the simple fact that you do have millions upon millions of people looking at you. And maybe right now you're not sure, is there anything after this or not? I know you know all about Pascal's wager and all of that. But in addition to living your life in a way that may be somewhere in the middle or somewhere in the gray area and saying, well, I don't know, I'm wondering about this or that, you've also taken on the additional responsibility that many of the things you say may sway other people to or from whatever faith they were believing in. And this becomes your responsibility on some level. So be careful about that. I'm not saying you have direct control over it, but I'm saying you do have influence that perhaps you have not appreciated. That's about all I've got for right now on this. I'm still not Phil Defranco, and I don't know if you've been filled in or not.